Good morning, and we're live. So this is our very first video lesson of 8th grade math. I hope this works. So we're going to work together on the internet and in class in order to figure out what in the world's going on. So for our very first lesson, you should hopefully be sitting in class. If you're not, you may have been gone. And we're going to need our protractor. Now, you may be wondering why we're not doing geometry. Well, we're going to use a few things in geometry to help us understand some algebra. With this, we're going to learn how to solve simple equations. And we did some of this last year. Simple equations, an example of that would be 5 plus x equals 13. Check that out. And of course, if you remember, that would be subtracting 5 from both sides in order to figure out what x is. Simple equations just have one variable and one step to do things with. We're going to learn what to do. So instead of writing an equation on the top of your paper, why don't you write your name? I'm going to write my name. Yay! My handwriting will progressively get better as the year goes on. I was just going to ask who here remembers, but I won't be able to hear your response unless you tell me live in the classroom. But who here remembers what degrees are? I know in your Prodigy lessons they started talking about degrees in a triangle, and you're wondering what in the world are they talking about. So we're going to slide down here and see our triangles. So the essential question is, how can we use inductive reasoning to discover rules in mathematics? Those are big words to say, how can we find a house if we don't know how to get there? Well, in order to do that, you would have to try all the roads, or at least have a map and plot the best way there that you can see. So we are going to discover some rules about simple equations by using these triangles. This is where we need to remember how to use our protractor. So we need to measure all of the angles A, B, and C. Angle A would be, of course, here, angle B, and angle C. And then record them down here in this nifty little chart. A, B, and C. So A, angle A in degrees, B degrees, C degrees, A, B, and C. Now degrees is, like in a circle, types of rotations. For example, if a skateboarder goes 180 degrees, that means they went from going forwards to going backwards. If a skier or an ice skater, same sort of thing. If you do a 360, you do one complete rotation. So those are numbers to keep in mind as we go through here. Now, if you get your handy-dandy protractor, what you'll need to do, if you don't remember how, then this part of the video is very important, is line up your protractor with pick the bottom. Say I'm going to pick this part right here as the bottom. I'm going to line up my protractor there. So I'm going to draw a little protractor. We'll see what it looks like. And with this protractor, I'm going to put the very whole of the center part right on the corner. And then the protractor is going to extend all the way out here, and this part's going to be all the way out there, and so on. It'll have this sort of rainbow thing that goes along. Your protractor will be doing similar things, I'm assuming. So, let's see everything. Now, you're probably thinking, but I can't measure it because it's too far away. That's where you can use your protractor as a straight edge and extend this angle up like that. And your bottom angle should be lined up with 0. So over here we'll have 0, and up here we begin to read it. So we'd have like 20, 40, and then it looks like if I use my magical protractor that this angle right here comes up to around 60 degrees. Look and see if yours agrees with that. I think it should. So we have our first angle measured. Now, go ahead and write that down under angle A. Angle A, 60, and then a little degree mark up there. So go ahead and measure angle B. Now you may need to pick one of these as the base and then extend the sides out on each of them so you can get a full and accurate measurement. Look at that. Your triangle is going to start growing lots and lots of legs, but that's okay. Get a measurement for angle B and angle C. In fact, you can pause the video if you'd like. Alright, welcome back. Here you should have 60 degrees, and angle C you should have around 60 degrees too. And if you would, add up A plus B plus C. So that would be 180 degrees. Now, of course, it's time to get triangle B all measured up. So I'm going to erase a little bit of my protractor here. And again, let's get the measures of A, B, and C. So you may need to extend our legs here. Our legs are hot dogs. And then line up your protractor. So for example, if you were to line up your protractor, you put the hole right here, you have the whole thing go flat, and then you'd have it loop like that. So then angle A would be measured from starting here at 0 and then going around until you get a measurement. And just to give you a little tip, that's probably around 45, and I bet right here should be around 90 degrees. My animals are fighting in the background. They wish they were doing math. Should write down 90 degrees right here. Now do the rest of the angles, please. If you're back, you'll find that 90 plus 45 plus 45 equals 180 degrees. So this will be a different type of angle for on triangle C here. You extend your legs out like we've been doing. Put your protractor on. Here's your center. Your protractor goes like that. Then it loops around. Remember, you start at 0 here and then measure around until you get to, I'd say, about 120 degrees. So we can go ahead and mark that down in our chart. 120 degrees. And go ahead and make those other measurements. They should be tiny little angles. 30. Add them up and they get 180 degrees. Lastly, triangle D. For triangle D, you will need to tell me which angles are what the values of these angles are. Question mark, question mark, question mark. But what do you think it's going to add up to be? That is the big question. What do we think these are going to add up to be? And why is that? So if we completed activity number 1, we can write a rule about the sum of the angle measures in a triangle. Every time we got the same sum for all of the angles that were written down. So if you were to say a rule for the sum of all the angles in a triangle, what would that be? If you add up all the angles in a triangle, what number of degrees will you get every time? Please write that down. For this part, I need you to draw 4 of your own triangles that are different sizes, but instead of 4, I'm going to be nice and say, please only draw 2. Let's not get crazy here. Let's be honest. Draw 2 triangles that are different from those in activity 1. Measure the angles of each triangle. And please organize the results in a table. We've done this in science before. So, have like a, for your triangle 1, have your angle A, B, C, and also find the sum of A plus B plus C and what that equals. You know what it should equal. And here's triangle 2. You know what it should equal, but test out your theory and give me measurements and data for all that. For our final activity, we're going to use the rule that we wrote in activity 2, remember, about the sum of the angle measures, and we're back. Then we can use that to solve equations to find the value of x. In fact, this is pretty easy because you've been doing this in Prodigy already. So we can ask ourselves, if We know two of the angles, that this is 27 degrees and 82 degrees. We know that there's a total of 180 degrees. How would we find this last little x? I'm going to give you a hint and say if we add up 27 plus 82 and subtract that from 80 degrees, we can get an answer. Or you can write an equation that looks sort of like this. 180 and then subtract 27 and then get an answer, and then again subtract 82, and here will be your angle x. So 180 minus 27, borrow from here, 3, 7 minus 2 is 5, and drop the 1, so 153, then minus 82. When we subtract 82, that'll give us our answer. So we got to borrow again. That's from a 5. So it's now a 4. That's sloppy. And a 1. 13 minus 2 is 9. 4. We got to borrow again. That's 0. 14 minus 8 is 6. And the final angle here is x equals 69 degrees. Oops, can't quite see that x. It's there, I swear. Please do the same for the remaining 3 triangles. Have 180, and then you can do minus 52 minus 43, and the remaining answer will be your angle x. So the final question we have today is, how can you use inductive reasoning to discover rules in mathematics? How can you test a rule? How can you use a rule to solve problems in math? Tell me how you use inductive reasoning to remember how to solve simple equations.